everybody. Hi everybody. Yeah, this is different from my normal YouTube. As you can see, there is a dress in the background. It actually looks smaller than it is. But the way that it's designed, it can be bigger or smaller depending on what you need, except for right around this area that I'm pointing at right there. That area is set in the stone because it pulls up and zips. Well, anyway, what we're here about today is I'm going to document my usage of certain supplements over a certain amount of time to show the success of these particular supplements with my body chemistry. So this is kind of a weight loss experiment, as you can see, which if my bed was a little bit nicer, you'd be able to see it a lot better, but hopefully that'll help. As you can see, I'm not actually that thin. I'm about, I want to say 50 pounds overweight, which is normal. I'm also 34, getting ready to be 35 in a few days. And I have 2 kids. I have a very sedentary lifestyle, except for what I actually do in my home. But I used to be a very active person. The smallest I've been my entire life has been about 130, 120. So of course, over time, yeah, this kind of happened. But I'm tired of being a big mom, because sometimes I'll sit down like a skinny person, which means I just plop, and I've got a lot more weight than somebody who's, say, 110 pounds when wet. Well, my mother was 94 pounds when she was my age. As you can see, I take after my biological father's side of the family. Obviously, I'm not a tiny girl. And according to my brother, we're Welsh and Irish descendant, so we're Celtic descendant, so I'm not supposed to be a very weak little thing, and I've always been a little bit stronger than most girls my age. When I was in the gym, when I was in my early 20s, just kind of like an everyday hobby type thing, just to stay active and do things. I actually was bench pressing about 135 unassisted. So yeah, and for multiple reps and sets. So I don't know what that means, because I know there are stronger individuals out there, but out of the group of people that I knew at the time and out of the group of people that I know currently, that's still pretty strong for somebody. I have discovered that as I'm getting older, I do a lot more of this kind of motion, especially with my son, who is 5. So doing this all the time with him and other kids that I maintain, my 9-year-old is easier to pick up now, even though she's solid. So yeah, but over time I want to kind of do this because I know what works for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, because everybody's body chemistry is different, and age, genetics, diet, lifestyle, all that plays a factor in maintaining or losing or gaining. And that's something that a lot of people don't really pay attention to. You would think that after all the years I spent dating a fitness buff who knew all the anabolic steroids you could take legally, and what to use for cuts and gains and how to eat and how not to eat before and after, yeah, you would think I would have maintained that lifestyle. But it was a very toxic situation, so I did not. I do continue to have friends from that era that went to the gym with me, knew all the tricks from this same person, and did all this stuff. So, I mean, yeah, I was never one for quick weight loss during that time. I ate like the bodybuilder I was dating, so it just kind of, I stayed solid, but I was strong. Grr. But I really don't want to be like anymore. I kind of want to lean out and still have my strength, be able to, if need be, to protect my family, and keep up with 6'2", 300 and some pounds, but that's me. And I've noticed as I'm getting older and my weight's still staying about the same, because I maintain in the same area, it's usually right around a 10-pound area that I stay in full time now, which has a lot to do with exercise, supplementation, diet, as well as genetics and age are starting to become a factor. So what I've noticed is if I gain and lose about 3 pounds in that 10-pound frame where I'm at most of the time, if I lose about 3 pounds from my heaviest to my smallest in that area, that 10-pound range, if I lose 3 pounds in that area, my hips don't hurt, my back doesn't hurt. But if I gain to my heaviest, that's when I start to hurt from my hips down, and it causes a lot more complications. And mind you, my youngest is 5, so I kind of have to stay up to par with a 5-year-old, and I do watch toddlers occasionally for family members at different intervals. So I have to keep up with like anywhere between a year and 3 altogether with the babysitting. But for my own home, I'm dealing with a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Plus, my husband is a paraplegic, so I kind of have to stay a little bit more active. And that's where I'm at. I don't want to continue to be this big bulbous thing that takes up a lot of space when we already are pretty much struggling for space and like vehicles and different things, the bed, that kind of thing. It's a lot easier for my husband, for me to be smaller, to fit in different angles like he needs for different things around the house, plus other type situations like vehicle placement and things like that. So it's a lot easier for me to fit if I'm smaller, and I prefer to be on the smaller side. I don't have to be curvy anymore. I've kind of gotten to a point where it's like, I've been curvy my whole entire life, and it was, I kind of have like a pear shape when I'm curvy, like my butt does like a heart shape, and I'm not as heavy up here, whereas when I'm a little bit larger, I'm a little bit heavy up here and a little bit heavy down here. And I'm okay with losing size in the different areas that everybody's like, I need gains here when I'm female. I'm okay with not being as busty or as bootylicious as I have been. As long as I'm healthier and I feel better and I have more energy and I'm able to keep up with my family and do the things that I need to do. Obviously, I have to do the weights and strength train in order to be able to do the lifting that I do with the wheelchair and other things, and be able to assist my husband when he needs it. So that's something that has to stay in there. So a high protein diet is what he needs, as well as what I need to continue to maintain that. It also helps with me losing fat, which is where my goal is at. I want to lose fat. So over the next 2 months, which is the game plan. My anniversary is coming up on February 27th, and I would love to be wearing that dress and having a teeny tiny ceremony for everybody, because me and my husband have been married 5 years this upcoming February, and if everything goes according to plan, it'll just be a couple of friends and family getting together and celebrating this in a small gathering, because we already have the legality and everything taken care of. We've had that taken care of for 5 years. So it's something that we want to do. My husband's getting a phone call right now, so this is hilarious. So, yeah, these are the things that my goals are for the next 2 months. I also have a friend who's very heavily into weight loss, weight gain, muscle-wise right now, and he actually does a lot of independent research, and he is just now starting to take some of my advice. But in all fairness, I haven't been taking my own advice, so it's kind of like a thing. But I have what I call a fitness Bible. It's on the other side of the room. I have a fitness Bible that I've been keeping since I was probably about 16. And as I've gained knowledge about different exercises, different techniques, the best form to take when you're doing squats, deadlifts, and all that kind of stuff, even independently. I have all that information in my book. This particular individual, anyway, that just recently started taking my advice, went to the gym with me for the first time ever a couple weekends ago. Well, when he went to the gym with me, I forget what I was doing. I was doing some kind of calisthenic exercise. And if you know what that is any kind of exercise that's not cardio, but it's using your body's resistance weight. Well, actually using your body's weight as resistance. So you're not using like dumbbells or anything like that. You're actually using your own body weight as your weight lifting particular thing. So that's a calisthenic, from what I've learned. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. I am all for that. I have hit that point of maturity where it's like, it's going to hurt my ego just enough to where it's like, here's a video, like, I'm apologizing because I didn't know the proper term usage or what the exact definition was for this particular thing, and I do apologize for any misinformation. So please feel free, if you're watching this video, please feel free to help me, because this is just to help other people as well as document my own process. Now, with that being said, he complimented me on my form. Like, he couldn't believe that I had perfect form because he'd never been with me in the gym, and obviously I look like a dump truck dumped like 50 pounds of dirt in like a little potato sack, and it's kind of busting at the seams. So yeah, you're not really going to think somebody that looks like this has good form in the gym. Well, he didn't know me when I was in my early 20s, so he didn't know how often I went to the gym, or that I had a completely OCD individual that was like form. So yeah, I kind of had it beaten into me literally and figuratively at the time. But needless to say, we're going to try to take that particular situation and use all the positive information and things that I learned from it and continue to go forward in this life and improve upon my own health. And during this time, we're going to use a couple of different things to kind of help. Because when I was about 16, 17, I did do Slim Fast shakes, which it's not recommended. So if you are under 18 and you're watching this for weight loss purposes, do not use any of the supplements. Because all supplements have a warning that if you are under the age of 18 and or pregnant, do not use them. It can cause side effects that can possibly hurt you if you're not concerned about your unborn baby. So that is my disclaimer for this. And I do not recommend using Slim Fast if you're under 18. I did, because it was a different time. Like I said, I am 35 this year. And for those of you who are listening to my voice and looking at my image on the screen and going, how the heck are you 35? Thank you. I appreciate that greatly. I do act and look a little younger than what I am. The youngest I've ever gotten when I was like 22 was 12. So yeah, needless to say, not too happy about that. But anywho, anywhere. I don't do a lot of alcohol. I'm not a really big drug user, not recreationally. If it's not prescribed and the doctor doesn't give me instructions on it, I usually go back and go, hey, what do I do here? Never really had that kind of a lifestyle. I do remember getting drunk occasionally around 21, 22, and blacking out at some different events. I'm pretty sure any of my old friends from that era will be like, yeah, she did it a couple times actually around this time, and I remember this one time. But please understand, that's like a really big reason why I don't appear to be older. Is because I really was very mindful about what I was putting into my body at different times in my life. I preferred, when I was 16, a very balanced diet. I followed the Food Guide Pyramid, which was a big thing back then. You can still find it, a modified one, online, as well as on certain grain boxes. If you don't have a gluten allergy, it's definitely something to look into. If you have a gluten allergy, you can modify it. You could probably even find a modified version of a Food Guide Pyramid. I don't know if I have a gluten allergy. I haven't gotten tested for that. I do have digestive issues, which makes my digestion a lot slower than most people. So that does have an issue with my weight. But I've found that these supplements actually boost my metabolism, make my digestion crazy quick, and I literally am like, I'm gonna die of dehydration because everything's processing so fast. I'm dying. So, but the weight goes away and I can maintain an energy level, and yeah, but I'm naturally dehydrated anyway, I think. I don't drink enough water. Which is a big thing. If you're going to be doing anything, do it the right way. During this time, I'm actually going to be upping my water